Love it. Thanks, as always, to the great Stone Loki for that wonderful intro outro, the specialized Monday night version. Hello, 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 my friends. Welcome to Clobberin Times. Issue number, well, 205 on YouTube, but 905 overall. And, yeah, here to do some Monday night Mark C. Comics Talk Clobberin. And, looking forward to this topic. I've been looking forward to this topic for some time. I hope I can do it even the slightest bit of justice. I don't know. We will see. It won't be anything special or elaborate. You know me, folks. I don't do elaborate. Just gotta hang and just talk about a little, kind of shoot the breeze about a little bit here and there, geek wise and geek stuff. So, but it's good to see you all. Really appreciate those who have popped in tonight. I know it's a Monday night and it's a Labor Day, so everyone's probably busy. Everyone's probably out, but you know what? The show must go on. And a big shout out and thank you to everyone who made Saturday night Star Trek such a wonderful time the other night for my wonderful first officer and myself. The other night, Raquel, we had a splendid time, as we always do. It was really great, lots of fun, and we just look forward to that every week. And those of you who were here hanging out for that, we appreciate you. We had a blast, and I hope you all had as much fun as we did. So, what's up there? The great J-Man's here already. What's up, buddy? Always great to see you, man. Niran and Axamanda Bear. Hello there. It is good to see you. Chris Persia. What's up, buddy? The great Chris Persia. Great to see you. D. Bud Martin, the man of iron. Hey there. What's up, buddy? Stuart Mitchell. Hello. Thanks for popping in. I dropped a little bit of a video last night. It's a crappy little video that I may have never made videos before. But there was just like a little teaser video letting everyone know that in the next couple of days I'll be dropping a couple of different videos, but I'm about a week behind on them. So my new series of videos about my spinner rack time machine. In case if you haven't seen it. That's coming soon. I'm gonna have to get two of them, hopefully get two of them this week, and then start doing that weekly. And it's just, I don't know how to make videos. It's gonna be very primitive, just as the teaser video was, but it'll get the job done, I hope. Quick show notes before we get started tonight. As always, we love our Saturday night Star Trek, but we have some special added bonus Star Trek this week, because Wednesday is September the 8th, the 55th birthday and anniversary of all of Star Trek, of course, but of course it all starts and stops with the original series. And I'm going to be torturing my first officer because this is brutal for her to be able to do this, but we're going to single out and count down our top 25 all-time favorite episodes of Star Trek, the original series. I even spelled the word favorite the way she would want me to, just for this special occasion. And it's tough for her to do this list. And look, you are all, I'm telling you now, as my witnesses, I gave her a chance to opt out so she could just hang with me and I'll count down mine, but she's going to do it, and I'm proud of her for it. And I love you. I don't know if you're out there right now, number one, but love you. It is going to be a fun time. 9 p.m. Central Standard Time on Star Trek Day, Star Trek night, because we love some Star Trek around here. If you hadn't noticed, and so and I guess it looks like Thursday we will have a Global Geek Gang of gathering of some sort, and we're starting here Monday night Mark C. Comics Talk throughout the month of September, and of course into the next month, because we're doing a 5-parter here. What we're doing is, this is a series of shows about, thank you, Chris Persia. I appreciate that. Never even thought about doing that. Thanks, man. Kalel 48, what's up, bud? Good to see you, sir. Appreciate that, Chris Persia. You're the man. What this is basically about is the great team-up books. tonight we're starting with the first one, the original. It's World's Finest. We'll talk a little bit about nothing special. Again, we'll talk about a little bit, some about its beginnings, and then just kind of chill out and talk about some of the different events and covers and different things like that throughout the course of the history of World's Finest, about 40 years of that title. And then next Monday night, it'll be Brave and the Bold. We could do them in order, the order of appearance, of course. What was the next one was Brave and the Bold. So the 2 DCs, then 2 Marvels. Marvel Team Up, then Marvel 2-in-1, and then finally, the last one they did, DC Comics Presents. The 5 Team Up series. Why? Why not? This is what we do here. Monday Night Mark C Comics Talk. We always try to find some kind of fun topic to talk about like that. And this is one I thought about for a while. I kind of thought about it for a good while, but then it kind of just slipped my mind. And then I was messing around on Twitter, which I often want to do, even though I shouldn't. And our good buddy J-Man happened to be you post some pictures, J-Man, of some DC Comics Presents that you bought, and it reminded me like, oh yeah, I need to do a show about that. But I can't just do a show about DC Presents. I need to do. I've been talking about it for a while. I need to do, each book, give each of these books, because who doesn't love a good team up? And no, I'm not including supervillain team up, but you could sometimes. But who doesn't love a good team up book? It's funny because back when when these characters, especially when these team up books were coming out, these guys are busy. Batman has his own adventures in 2 different titles, as Superman does at this point. All throughout their careers, they have the 2 titles, plus they got a team up book, and then they're in the Justice League later. Spider-Man, at least he's not in a group, at least in his heyday, but he's got what, 3 titles? If for a while there in his heyday, he had Amazing Spider-Man, and then they added Marvel Team Up. Then later they had Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man, and then later what was Web of Spider-Man? Look, but of course that was after they got rid of Marvel 2-in-1. At least Bashful Benji had he was in the Fantastic Four. Then they gave him Marvel 2-in-1. Man, he's got, so there used to be and again Superman was in his 2 titles. Then they gave him DC Comics Presents. Like, man, these guys, and he was in Justice League, remember? So, well, he was for a while anyway. And he was in World's Finest. So for a while there, Batman and Superman were in their own 2 titles, Justice League, World's Finest, and Brave and Bold and DC Comics Presents. And we used to kind of joke about some of these titles, like, you know what? People used to say, I forgot exactly who it was, but the Brave and Bold title, the Batman from Brave and the Bold, for example, I'm not talking about the cartoon now, which I do love, but just the comic itself was a very different Batman that was in the regular Batman comics. The Batman in the Justice League, kind of the same deal. I used to, we talk to friends. That's kind of things you geek out with friends about. That's when comics, which would, my Spinner Rack time machine is going to kind of deal with stuff like that a little bit. That's when comics were such a healthy medium in industry and so much fun that those are the kind of conversations you had about them, rather than, agendas and different other things going on. You talked about the characters and the stories and things like that. Remember that? Remember when it was fun to talk about, when our worst arguments where we were talking about whether this issue was good or not, or whether Batman would really do that or Spider-Man would really do that or whatever? That's what I like. That's what I want to recapture. And, it was always fun. A lot of people thought, again, the Batman that you would see in that book was just totally different. So these guys, they could never have gotten any sleep, especially Superman and Batman. But what a lot of people don't know is that, again, throughout the Golden and Silver and Bronze Age, Batman and Superman are friends and best buddies. Yes, before those dark times, Kal-El. But actually, World's Finest, and I can show you a picture. the very first issue of World's Finest was not called World's Finest. It was called World's Best Comics. For issue number 1. It was a slightly oversized. It was bigger than your regular size comic on higher paper. Hey there, look at Echo Base Network. Well, I'm honored to see you, Echo Base Network. It's always a pleasure to have someone pop in for us like that. I love your channel. I'm a member of your channel, and of course, love Star Wars and stuff. Everyone, for those who do not know, that's a great channel, and you all probably know who they are. They're a great channel. And if you have not checked them out, please do. But yes, the very first, World's Finest was an oversized comic. Steve Mitchell, what's up, brother? Good to see you. And it was one of the few comics. It was the expensive comic for the back then, because as you know, most comics throughout the golden age were 10 centers. This was a bit, this comic for a while was for like 70 issues, was a lot bigger. It was 15 cents. And something some people don't know is Superman and Batman and Robin there. You see them on the covers. They were not hanging out together. They had not met, really. For the first 70 issues of World's, because by the way, the second issue is when it changed to World's Finest. And there were a lot of characters. These comics were basically, World's Finest was an anthology series for the first 70 issues. Batman and Superman did not talk to each other, didn't meet each other. Oh, hey, you guys started a new channel? Echo Base says, yeah, J-Man's a cool dude. J-Man has been on with me as well. Echo Base, I don't know if that's Nick or Coach, but I think it's Nick. And yes, J-Man is the man in his J, and he's really cool. And we're going to do some more fun shows together, I hope. Start a new channel for other content. Echo Base TV. Oh, cool. I will definitely, if you could link that, or if someone can find a link to put that in there, I would like to subscribe to that channel. Yes, I'm sure I know that's Nick out there. This Coach, I think I've heard that Coach doesn't go around on all the channels that much. It's always Nick when I heard that. I think I've heard that as well. But it's good to see you there, Nick, or whichever one of you it is. So yes, this was an anthology series. Hey, Nick, appreciate it, man. It's confirmed. Batman and Superman did not meet each other officially, really. They did not appear on a comic book page together until I think it was All-Star Comics number 7 or something like that. And it was just taken as read that they knew each other. But they really didn't even team up until the Adventures of Superman radio show. Oh, I got you, Nick. Cool, I hear you there, man. Superman and Batman really didn't meet until the Superman Batman radio show. Oh, I'm sorry, the Superman Adventures of Superman radio show. But Batman and Robin made an appearance on there. Hello, Marshall Lewis. Good to see you. And they had some other meetings, but it really wasn't. Even though this comic started in 1941 or whatever it was. Eric K, brother, good to see you. Superman and Batman really didn't meet until Superman number 76 in 1952. So the first time they ever appeared in a comic book together on a page together was, All-Star Comics number 7. But this was the first one. I remember reading. I had a reprint of this, and it was either Superman from the Batman from the 30s to the 70s or Batman from the 30s to the 70s. I can't remember. Hey, Zax. Good to see you. Another evening channel called the first episode aired last week. Oh, okay. Well, I'll try to get a link up there, and I'll put it there for Echo Base. Just got it in excellent, great channel, of course. So yeah, this is when they're really in comic books first actually meet. Even though they've had that title, for over a decade with their faces on the cover. and I'll never, man, this is, so you got to kind of count that radio show as a first meeting, really. And was it Mystery of the Wax Men or something like that? But, it wasn't until, was it? Oh, what issue? Oh, yeah. It was, oh, I didn't put the cover up there. Where's my cover of that? I thought I had the cover of 71 on there. Damn it. No, let me find it. World's Finest 71. That's it. Thought I loaded that sucker. Yeah. There we go. A bop. Let's see. I swore I had that cover loaded up. So it wasn't until World's Finest number 71 that the series started actually having adventures. First of all, they reduced the format size back to a 10-cent size and the price down to 10 cents. And this was, oh, good Lord, it's like 1954 or something like that. And they actually started hanging out together and really became buds. And they used to mess around with different, like they would retcon things here and there about in terms of, who appeared, at which time or whatever. But it was 71 when they actually started, issue number 71, I should say, when they started hanging out and being pals. So, thought I had a picture of it somewhere, but I got to just do it the old-fashioned way. That's what I get. Taking all day to do stuff. Yeah, where are you? Where are you? Oh, dang it. Oh, there it is. I knew I had that thing. I just got to put it up there. All right, so in case you ever wonders, when Superman and Batman actually started World's Finest, or World Finest started with them as pals and teaming up. What is it with tights? Was it a Robin Hood thing? Narat, superheroes, when Superman was first introduced in 1938, when it was first conceptualized before that, when the original concept, he was actually a villain, but when Siegel and Schuster conceptualized him, they just came up with the idea they, kind of based, he was strong, of course, kind of based somewhat on the circus strongman, who did wear a costume of sorts. And they just kind of ran with it from there. At that point, superheroes, he was the first superhero. I mean, they had heroes with abilities and things like that with sort of outfits and looks. So the look was to give him give him a symbolic type of a look, and it just became, these characters. And that's just what superheroes just decided, to distinguish themselves, to become not only heroes but symbols. Your Muslim uncle with a 199 super chat. Oh, thank you, my friend. Good to see you, buddy, and thank you so much for that. I hope your mother's doing well, sir. Hail for your Muslim Colossus and Sufi Wonder Mom. Sorry, I'm not looking at it close enough. Hey, Glenzer, good to see you. I hope your mom is doing better, your Muslim uncle. How is she? Is she okay? Please let us know. But yes, Eric. Yeah, they never, Superman and Batman only became enemies in the, Frank Miller did kind of start it, although toward the end of the run of World's Finest, they started piddling around with this kind of crap about them being enemies. Well, not so much enemies as just having some conflict, which I never agreed with. Superman and Batman are buddies. And then, of course, you have the Byrne crap reboot, which I don't like very much, making them kind of adversarial. But it was really Miller that kind of started it, though. He certainly blew, he's one of the ones who kind of blew it all out of proportion. But the hell with him. Let's see here. There we go. Which one's the cover? Oh yeah, there we go. There we go. But some of these, the conflict of ideals I can handle, but not a full out, fight fest where they kick the crap out of each other. I'm not either. Look, I gotta be honest with you. I have had, and Phantom Outsider, what's up, dude? Hey man, I love composite Superman. Thanks for that number. Help me remember it. We'll look for it later. But J-Man, I'm with you. Look, let me tell you, yes, them having squabbles and drama and all and differences and all that kind of stuff is all fine and well. What I hate very much is making them enemies, and I'm one of those who has I have a lot of criticisms of Miller's Dark Knight Returns, to be honest with you. My biggest issue 4 I thought was terrible, to be honest with you, which took forever to come out. But my biggest was simply the fact that Superman was portrayed like a fool. The term superhero, Neuron and Anaximander really was coined for comic book characters. In fact, it's even co-owned by Marvel and DC. And it really, in other words, you can have a superpowered being that's a hero, but superheroes, the costume goes part and parcel. Otherwise, it's just a hero with superpowers. And so the actual term is a super powered being or a super crime fighter with a costume. So, yeah. Otherwise, John Carter would be a superhero. I hated his characterization of Superman. But anyway, let's see. Where are we at? Oh yeah. So you look at some of these. It's kind of funny that for how long it's just they were the two characters that National, aka DC, or later to be known as DC, had at the time. So you see all these old covers and you go, wow, they've been palling around for even longer. But they haven't. But, that's what comics were back then. I love these old. And Hercules and all, yeah. In a sense, they were a lot like they were like superheroes, but a superhero has a costume. Yeah, John Carter's a superpowered guy when he's on Mars. Yeah. Glenzer, the metas thing. I'm not exactly sure. It was relatively recent, or 80s or 90s when they started with them. Yes, they say metahumans. And now sometimes they say metas, but I don't abide by that. Well, again, having superpowers isn't exactly the same thing. A costume, in my opinion, is for the definition, and you could quibble with this and change it any other way you want. I think it has to go with superpowers or a costume. Or in the case of Batman, who doesn't have any actual physical superpowers, I still consider him to be a superhero. He's a crime fighter in a costume. So costume heroes, but you could quibble over it. Yeah, I mean, as far as I know, it hasn't really been ratified into law, although Marvel and DC do co-own the term superhero legally. jointly, even though people use it all over the place. Um, Mama's in the hospital. Miracle that I get to be with her. Pneumonia. Oh my goodness. A little better than yesterday. Well, just blessings be upon her, your Muslim uncle, and good luck. I don't remember when the comics started using meds. I think it was more. Yeah. I think it was sometime in the 80s or 90s. J Man, I couldn't nail it down for you for sure, but yeah. But Batman's a superhero in a sense as well. I think the costumed hero, if you want to call him that, but yeah, I mean, hi there, Oliver Belmonte. Sir Clem, what's the definition and difference between superhuman and metahuman? I just think they're six of one, half a dozen the other. That for some reason, Oliver, I think someone just at some point, and I believe it was DC, someone decided it was just kind of a clever name to call them metahumans. I don't know if it was John Ostrander, if it was Paul Levitt. I don't know who it was. So, but as far as a difference, I don't think there is a difference at all. And certainly nothing's been ratified into law about it. So, yeah, I don't think there's a difference, to be honest with you. And I've never been big on that whole metahuman thing, that term. Again, like I say, six of one, half a dozen of the other, I suppose. But I'm not a big fan of it. Just call them superheroes or super beings. If they're not a hero, they're superheroes or supervillains, and I'm kind of fine with that. These comics are supposed to be for fun. They can really overthink them to death sometimes, can't they? Wow. Some of these covers. Holy crap. Man. Victory Guard. A lot of these were war comics. I love it. Eric K. With the 999 super chat. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you. You're too kind, bud. Well, I was faster than a speeding bullet, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound, more powerful than a locomotive. Not good enough. I hate how they change him to have powers to meet every situation. Well, I mean, in the early days, but you're right. I just think that back then, you had some silly writers and silly editors that did like to add certain powers. They had X-ray vision, and then they decided to they just add heat vision. And then later, look, you had writers just messing around. You're right. Let's see here. Obviously, forgetting your main powers for Superman, your strength and your leaping that became flight, and your invulnerability, and your super hearing and the basic stuff, super eyesight and the X-ray vision. Heat vision was added a bit later. And then you have stuff like super ventriloquism. It's just that he's super at everything. So, I don't know. I don't have a clear answer for you, Eric. They just, and yeah, there's the thing. Steve Mitchum, that's a very good point. I love. Yeah, Freezing Breath. There's another one, The Cold Breath. I love these Fleischer cartoons. Apollome's Minion, good to see you, my dear. But it was, in a fun way, kind of inconsistent that sometimes they made it look like he's leaping, yet clearly he's flying and defying gravity. I mean, some people say, oh, no, he's not flying on those things. Yes, he's flying. Because he leaps. Well, if you're leaping, then you're going to come back down. But how he leaps in the air, then he pulls the building up, or he's always, lifting things, flying. Look, Superman flies. I'm glad he flies. I'm glad that they changed that to flying because he's Superman, for God's sake. Cold breath actually makes sense in a way. His invulnerable lungs compressing the air would make it colder. Well, there you go. Yeah. I'm glad. Hey, Cardinal Sin. Good to see you, man. Good to see you, buddy. I'm not one of those who has a problem with Superman being more and more powerful as time went by. It didn't bother me. Oh, I forgot one of the pictures that I'd loaded. But comics just, hey, I mean, they were for fun and they got silly. And they got so silly in the line with the world's finest. You had the Super Sons of Superman and Batman. This is around the time when I first started being able to pick up World's Finest. Has there been a Superman? No, I don't believe there's been a Superman versus Godzilla. Not, but it would be fun. I mean, there've been a lot of crazy crossovers now, and so I would be all for a Superman versus Godzilla in the right hands. But there's so many, crazy. Yeah, well, Marvel did have the Godzilla line for the wild in the late 70s, J-Man. I love those old Herb Trimpe Godzillas. We don't actually disagree on that, Steve Mitchum. I do agree it's ridiculous. But it would just fit the time they were in. I don't mind him being depowered to an extent. So we actually don't necessarily disagree with that. I do think it's ridiculous. It's preposterous. But it was done, and some of those stories fitting the time were goofy fun. I have no problem with. See, what you do is you can depower him a little as long as you don't go too far with it. But Alan Moore proved on a few occasions, not many because he didn't do the character that much, although he did it later on Supreme, that you could write up instead of down. In other words, you can write interesting things about the character even with those powers. And one of the ways and a lot of writers found Superman very difficult to write without getting silly because he was so powerful. But it could be done. So, Paul Dini and Bruce Timm on their animated 3-part World's Finest in '97. That was really good. Oliver, big confession time here. The Superman animated series, and I love Batman animated series and I love Justice League. The animated series of Superman took me a long time to warm up to. When it first came on, I really wanted to like it because I love the anime, and I did like that World's Finest crossover thing they did. The very first episode, first of all, they did some really dumb things with Brainiac. Brainiac being a Kryptonian computer pissed me off. Superman is he's too much of a wimp in the thing. He can barely lift an airplane. I mean, he's got his ass handed to him so much on that show that I kind of tapped out and didn't watch it a whole lot back then. I remember a friend of mine told me back then, not too long after that show come out, how, his dad was just like a casual. He read comics as a kid and seen movies, but he didn't really know that much. And he's walking through the room one day while my friend is watching one of those episodes of the Superman animated series. And Superman, as usual, is getting his ass handed to him. And his dad said, "Hey, what's the matter with Superman? Is it kryptonite or something?" And he says, "No, Dad, he just always gets beat up on this show." And he did. Good God, was he a wimp on that show. Nevertheless, the show had good stories. I went back years later. I love the show, don't get me wrong. But I think they went so overboard on that animated series and the Justice League series, did Denny and Tim, and God bless them, they did a lot of great stuff, that Alex Ross, who could be a jackass in real life, but he loves the characters, it's reputed, I don't know if this is true or not, so it's rumored, it could be folklore, that Alex Ross said to Bruce Timm, he said, "My God, would you please stop having Superman being such a wimp, getting his ass kicked all the time?" That's right. That Godzilla. I probably have that issue somewhere still. What was I looking for? Look, I was looking at what Eric was saying. Yeah, Superman would take him down, wouldn't he? But see, this is around the time here when I started reading World's Finest, and I love those. They have some wonderful, silly, absolutely ridiculous covers from the Singer era. Oh yeah, I don't. How much is that thing, Jay? Man, I kind of want to get that. But And you got to understand this was at a time when comics were they were just silly fun aimed at kids. Sorry, that's what they were. And the Super Sons of Batman and Superman. Oh my God! But you could do a whole 2 shows on Bob Haney. They called in some circles they called Bob Haney, who wrote World's Finest and the Brave and the Bold comic for a while. They called him Mr. Continuity. Thank you, Cardinal Sin, for $1.99 super chat. Clobby, did you see my what video? I have not seen it. What you got there? You made a video, Cardinal? I haven't been around much in terms of looking at a lot of YouTube, so I have not seen it. But if you help me remember, I'll check it out. $60. Oh, okay, I got you. Well, I'm going to get it at some point. I'm definitely going to get it at some point, J-Man, for sure. So, I know in modern parlance, there's, for the past few years, Superman and Batman have had, they've had sons, and they have the Super Sons, I personally can't stand Damian, and Jonathan can't, but not a lot of people liked that, because Peter Tomasi is a pretty good writer. A lot of people have liked that until that idiot Bendis came along and screwed with it and ruined it. But that was different from this. Your Muslim Uncle, $4.99. Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate you, man. I feel like Miller's Superman is a reflection of what's going on in Australia currently, and maybe he felt heroic people were allowing badness in his day. At the time, and I like Miller. I've liked a lot of what he's done. I think it was just kind of Miller being, see, a lot of people seem to be under and I'm not getting into, we don't do politics here. Just saying, a lot of people will accuse every little thing, and rightly so nowadays. Everything is woke this and woke that and political this. Here's the thing about that stuff. Some people seem to think that all this woke crap started in 2017. Hollywood's been doing this crap, and other forms of entertainment like comic books have been doing this for 60 years. The difference is it wasn't as overt all the time, but it was still there. I mean, even things that I really enjoyed, really loved as a film or a book or a comic, I could see the slivers of it in there. But so I'm just as guilty as everyone else, put up with it because I was entertained. This was Miller making his little political statement at the time about Ronald Reagan. That's what his Superman was in that comic, which was nothing new. Hollywood was doing that. Hollywood, and he's not Hollywood, but he did work in Hollywood, and comics industry they didn't like Reagan, and they thought they could use Superman. In this case of Miller, you could use Superman as an attack on that side of the political aisle, and that's what he used it for. And which I thought was, and he did it in a very badly written way. It was terribly written caricature, as was his version of Reagan in that comic. I thought it was just a joke the way he wrote the thing. I like the first few issues of Dark Knight, but if you really read that comic, people like it, I think, for concept more than, first of all, the art wasn't as good as some of Miller's other stuff, I didn't think. And secondly, people liked it for the concept, is what I think. It was such a, at the time, very revolutionary type of a concept for older Batman and stuff. And that's good. But the writing in that comic, some of it is, especially the scripting, the dialogue, is absolutely pathetic. His scripting in Daredevil Year One is brilliant. His scripting in Dark Knight Returns, Batman Dark Knight Returns, not so much. If we're just getting down to be honest, because he decided to make it a caricature to make his statements, which is an example to us all. When you go full on agenda or even partial, when a lot of what you're writing is agenda, it's going to affect your talent. When you did Daredevil Year One, Born Again, like I said, for example, I meant Born Again. Daredevil Born Again, he was just trying to tell a great Daredevil story, and it was brilliant. Batman Year One, for the most part, just trying to tell a good story, and it was brilliant. Dark Knight Returns, he was injecting some of his own personal biases politically in there, and it affected his writing and his caricatures. A lot of his characters are caricatures. Not all of them. Batman's pretty decent in it, but Superman, Reagan, things like that. You know, big differences. Yes, The Demon Reborn. I really like that episode, Oliver. Yeah, very good. But so in World's Finest, and it kind of did, the series of World's Finest ended on a sour note with them leaving each other and them kind of falling out. Kelly says, I agree, Clobby. The concept was why I bought the trade paperback collection of the Dark Knight Returns. But, well, yeah, and look, hey, when that came out, let me tell you something, Kelly. I was a young man in my, late teens, early 20s, and I couldn't wait for it. And I bought that first issue, and that was a rare moment, Eric, that I wasn't working in a comic shop or running one at that point. I was doing another job. But when I went to the comic shop, one comic shop tried to jack up the price to $20 on Dark Knight #1 when it first came out, before there was a trade or anything like that. Just the regular issues, because it was a 4-issue series. And I had to go to another one and get it for cover price. It was a prestige format book. And we were nuts over that thing. And when buying comics was exciting, we couldn't wait to get our new comics. It was so much fun. And that one, man, we were going nuts over that comic. And I loved it. It took forever for issue 2 to come out. It took forever for 3. It took really forever for 4. And by 4, I was kind of aggravated with it. But it became a classic because of the first couple of issues, and it changed comics along with Watchmen, and it changed Batman big time, as did Batman Year One by Miller. But these were simpler times with World's Finest. Oh, by the way, again, like I said, their first meeting was on a radio show. Really? So, it was, I don't know, comics were for fun, and Batman, there was something, I don't know, there was just something really fun about Superman and Batman being best buddies. The two biggest, the two best, the two top-notch superheroes being best pals. And of course, the covers, World's Finest has some of the greatest covers. Um, I mean, jeez. Whoa, sorry. Let's see here. Throughout the Mort Weisinger era of DC, they have probably some of the silliest covers on World's Finest I've ever seen. This here. Have you ever seen DCAU animated adaptations of either Year One or Dark Knight Returns? Have you ever seen a DC animated universe adaptations of Dark Knight? No. You talk about the animated movies? Oh, okay. When you say DCAU, I always think about, yeah. I see what you're saying. Yes, I've seen them both. I kind of thought they were pretty good. I mean, I thought the Dark Knight one looked kind of good. Darth Haster. Thank you for the super sticker, Darth Haster, for the 199 super. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. Good to see you, Haster. Thank you so much for popping in, buddy. Appreciate that. Thank you. Yes, I have seen those, Cal, and I thought they were pretty good. I thought they did a pretty good job of adapting them, especially the with the Mazzucchelli. I liked how I kind of really liked the idea of adapting those animated films to look like the comic they were based on, if you know what I mean. Appreciate that, Haster. I like that. I love that it was just I wish they would do more like those too, even though, like I said, I like year one, even though there were some things in it I did not really care for, and it did some, oh boy, it did some lasting damage to Batman, in my opinion. I loved World's Finest, by the way, when it was at this level, when it was at this point, when it was the dollar issues. Remember those? Oh, I got to get some of these windows here closed up. Some of these covers, man. I'm trying. I wish I could find. See, I can't remember. I'm bad with issue numbers. But one of the funniest World's Finest covers you're ever going to see. You know, because they always had these shock value covers. Every damn issue, Superman and Batman are doing something shocking. There's one of them. Superman and Batman are kings of the world. And Batman's such a jackass. He's only cutting a little piece of the world off for Superman. Of all the metahumans, Batman doesn't want to fight is Superman. I guess the reason Superman is just about every metahuman power you can think of. Yes, but Batman, has his own little tricks up his sleeve on how to beat him. And there's the thing: Batman would use and has used tricks on him. There's the thing: when you have a character like Superman, you do have to write weaknesses for him. you have to write physical weaknesses for him, of course, as many have. But there's a there's a World's Finest cover. And I wish I knew the issue number. But there are a lot of funny ones. I must destroy this list before Batman can decipher it in his Batcave. I must burn this list before Superman can decode it in his Fortress of Solitude. Don't tell your friends the secret of the Executioner's List. Okay. Thank you, Cardinal Sin. I will look at that when I'm done with the show, bud. Appreciate it. But does anyone remember the cover? I bet D-Bud and J-Man, you guys might remember this cover. It was the World's Finest issue where, again, we talk about the shock value covers, the Mort Weisinger era, Superman and Dickory. There was one where Superman and Batman are pointing guns at Robin and Jimmy Olsen and forcing them to dig their own graves. Yeah, that was fantastic. That was amazing. Oh, yeah, you know that one? That's a classic. Oh, you have that one, Steve Mitchum? Oh, great. Well, you're all familiar. I'm sure you're all familiar with the website, superdickory.com or supermanisadick.com. I haven't looked at that in a while, but I think it's still up there. Well, there were a lot of Superman covers in the Weisinger era, but there were some of them, they did it on World's Finest also, where Superman's being an a-hole. Because the shock value was such that you needed to I don't know, you needed something. Oh, like look at this one. I love this one. Hey, that didn't work. Oh no. Oh, that one. Well, damn, it didn't work. We only have Batman in the stocks. Huh. Oh, I see one I wanted to see. Yeah. Neil Adams cover. I'm about to commit my first crime, and you, Batman, are about to be the victim. There was one where they didn't give Aquaman water. I can't remember if that was. I think it was World's Finest, buddy, but I'm not 100% sure. Let's see here. Glenzer, I don't think it is possible. And that kind of speaks to a problem I've had with a lot of modern comic writing, not just all the political crap that they do, but I think for a good while, at least probably, if not in the late 90s, somewhere in the early 2000s, they started a term that some of us call it writing for the trade. I miss, one issue stories, short stories, especially for people like Batman and even short stories can be really, really powerful. Long, drawn out crap. I'm convinced that a lot of times these stories gets, when they bring them in to the editors, they say, here's the story. Oh, well, can you, and they say maybe it needs to be an issue, maybe it needs to be 2 issues. Oh, can you stretch it out to 4? We can get a trade paperback out of that. And I think they make them pad and stretch these stories. They started doing that because trade paperbacks, they inaccurately called graphic novels, started selling in bookstores more. Right for the trade, right? So a lot of stories became padded because of that. In my opinion, some stories don't hold water for a 6-issue run. Maybe they're 2 or 3 issue type of a story, get stretched out to 6 so they can have a trade, which is bloated storytelling. But so when you do that, since there are 12 issues of a comic a year, you don't have to do as much work. Sir Clobberin, what's the world's finest issue where Batman investigates on Superman gotten weak from the kryptonite snow? I don't know. That's a good question. Have you read that one recently, Oliver? Because I'm very bad with issue numbers anyway. Good. World's finest, 195. All right. 195. Huh. There it is. That's fantastic. Dig now, die later. Hurry up with your graves, Jimmy and Robin. I'd finish you myself, but I have a code against killing. Batman, yeah. So I'll do the job, boys. Dig now, die later. That's fantastic. Thanks, D-Bud. Cardinal Sin, that's our dear departed friend, the great Mark C., whom I named my Monday night talk show, comic show after. Mark C. It's called Monday Night Mark C. Comics Talk, because he was a big comics fan. He was a very dear friend of ours who passed on back in March, unfortunately, and we've done a lot of shows together. And he was a huge comics fan, as I am, and we had a lot of fun doing comic shows together. So I decided I named the Monday night show after him forever and ever. This comic, my Monday night comic book show, there's always going to be Monday Night Mark C. Comics Talk. So that's his picture up there. We revere and honor him forever. And I miss him big time. But thanks for asking. I appreciate that. Let's see. That's also a good question. Steve mentioned, can modern comic writers write stories where heroes aren't killing each other? Or how about stories when they're acting like heroes? How about that one? Yeah, I mean, look, an occasional two-parter is okay also, but I just think that, they're making people bloat their stories, J-Man. Batman the Animated Series and other animated series proved that in 22 seconds, a 22-minute story can carry far more punch than a 5-issue drawn-out maxi, mini in within a maxi series or a short story. I don't know. Stretching stories is the current X-Men. Yeah, it's all about it's the story stretching. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, Cardinal, that's okay, man. I'm glad you asked. Thank you. Um. And he would have been if he had been available, if he'd been with us, still with us, and available tonight, I'd have definitely asked him on to talk about this one. I'd have him do most of our comics, our comic stuff here. But yeah, these covers, and this is not the only funny one, but this has always been probably my favorite one. It's like I think it's a Kurt Swan Murphy Anderson cover. Oh, shite. At least they're not trying to kill each other on this one. Oh, I always like this one. Neil Adams, please go ahead and kill us. We insist. Yes, both of us must be executed at once. Okay. Why would they don't explain to you on this cover why the gun would kill Superman? But all right. I love that one. Treating every story arc like it's the next Watchmen for 12 more issues ridiculous. I think that hurts sales. A prime example, J-Man, and it sort of dovetails with it certainly interacts with World's Finest, because right after the Screw 52 started, which as you know, I'm on record as hating, I started dumping out of. I just wouldn't read it, wouldn't touch it. A year or so later, or whatever, DC started doing a digital comic called Superman Adventures of Superman, or something like that. They did a Batman one later, where it was digital, but then it went to print. And by the way, Steve Mitchum, I totally agree. I love Watchmen, but you're absolutely right. In fact, the great Mark D with the C, not Mark D with the C. We mentioned him too. He's a good friend. Mark C and I had talked a long time. We were planning a show about that very topic one day, and what Watchmen did to comics. But the digital Superman one also they put it in regular print as well, and they were short stories. You have them all, J-Man, good. And they did a Batman one as well, and they did a Wonder Woman one as well. And they took place, excuse me, because they were short stories, they were not tied to any specific continuity. They didn't have to be. Some were better than others. They were all great or anything, but they had some, and most of these writers were not known. Of course, DC was a bunch of chicken shits for not allowing the Orson Scott Card story. But nevertheless, they did. I don't know how many issues they did of this thing, but it was a really fun read, because sometimes it showed that Superman can have really great short stories. And the Batman one was pretty good as well. The Wonder Woman had some good issues. But again, they were short stories. I'm a big fan of the short story format, because when you concentrate more on the short stories in your comic series, then when you want to have a big epic, it's more fun, because it's just because it's more rare. Now, see, back at this time when comics like this were coming out, Silver and Bronze Age, distribution wasn't the same as it was. I mean, I think my friend D-Bud said he had a comic shop in the 70s, but for the most part, there weren't a lot of there were no comic shops down here till the 80s, so I helped start that one. But so if you bought comics off the spinner rack and the drugstore rack, sure, you were probably had the good chance of getting Superman and Batman and Spider-Man and what have you on a regular basis, but you didn't have a folder. You didn't have a pull list. Oh yeah, I bought Glinzer. I bought the physical. They did, like I said, it was digital first. Then a month later, they did the physical issues, and I bought the physicals. I'll get it. I mean, I have some digital stuff sometimes, but I like the physicals big time as well. Now, the one thing I'll say about digital, one thing useful about it is I got a good friend of mine who's a big time comics collector, hardcore, whose eyes are kind of failing him. He's had some issues with his eyesight. He's getting up there. He's a little older than me. And it's tougher for him to read a comic now. So he will get the digital on stuff, and he has his iPad. For people who have some problems with their eyes, that's kind of helpful. The digital is helpful for that. I'm not excusing digital. I want the physical copies, but I hear you. Captain is Decker the Replicant. Spock, what's up, buddy? You see, D-Bud, you're in the big city, man. We didn't, like I said, we didn't get the comic shop until I started one down here, or helped start one here in 1982. But we didn't have I didn't know what a comic shop was in 1980 and 79 and 80. So, like I said, distribution was such, it was spotty, especially on the lesser series. But that's cool that you guys had to shop that early. Now, Frank Miller's Ronin, Cardinal Sin. I remember I ordered the guy was running the shop for at the time when that came out in 1983. We had an argument over that. Now, I'm not knocking Frank Miller's Ronin. It's an interesting book. Frank Miller was a huge superstar at the time because of his Daredevil work and his work on the Wolverine miniseries. Hello, Janet from another planet. Beautiful lady. And Miller was huge at the time, Cardinal. Nevertheless, this was a very experimental book, and it was a slicker format. It was a higher price than your regular comics at the time. I believe it was a $250 or something like book or whatever it was, which back then was something in 1983. And my then boss, who you knew, Steve, he wanted to order 200 or something crazy on Ronin. And I said, no, look, you're going to get stuck with a bunch of that. We should not order. I said, I have nothing against it. I'm looking forward to it, but I think you need to take it a little bit easier. He said, what do you mean it's Frank Miller? I said, yeah, it's Frank Miller. But you got to consider, it's not Frank Miller on a Daredevil comic or a Wolverine comic. This is on a character he's created himself at DC. He just moved to DC. It looks like an interesting comic book. It may be really good. It may not. But this is he's not on an established character. He's a fan favorite. A lot of your Miller you'll get some Miller fan base there. But you have to consider when you order on this thing that this character, is unknown. And Miller on an established character, revolutionizing Daredevil and Wolverine the way he did, yes. But this one I don't know. Well, a few people bought it. I bought it. It was okay. I mean, like I say, I haven't read it in a long time. I probably like it better. The art was very different from what he usually does. That's another thing. They were releasing preliminaries of the artwork. It didn't look like his standard stuff. He'd really, really changed his style from his work on Daredevil and even on Wolverine. Well, we got stuck with a lot of copies. We tried to push it. Hey, look, this is Frank Miller. A lot of people were like, oh, there were people who liked it, were interested in it. By the time issue 2 or 3, whatever came out, though, it really started going down. So we got stuck with a lot of copies. And the lesson to be learned was I said, look, if you put Frank Miller on any kind of established character at all, it's going to sell like hotcakes. But nobody knew who Ronan was. And so at the time, it kind of faded out. It fizzled out. And not a lot of people bought it. I bought them all. And at that point, Chris Persia, we didn't have pull lists. Or we didn't do a folder system back then yet. Yeah, he was changing his style. I loved what Barry Windsor Smith changed his style into. Miller, to be honest, I don't know. By the way, did you know Neil Adams told Frank Miller that he was no good and wasn't going to make it? Of course, he told a lot of people that. But, Ronan is probably still in print, though. So, it stood the test of time. A lot of people really like it. It was interesting. But, so, what can you do? But, World's Finest. World's Finest kind of toward the end of the series. Because, like I said, you had the first 10 years, which they weren't even teamed up. Then you had a good 30 years where they were friends and they had all these crazy adventures together, as I talked about at the beginning of the show. Okay. These covers, man. Some of these covers. Oh, my God. Oh, let's see here. Let's go back to covers. Oh, man. Toward the end of the run, though, it got kind of weird. Yeah. Well. So, I'm sorry. So I'm having a bit of a technical difficulty there, folks. I guess you're hearing me, right? Okay, sorry. But after all that time, I guess they were just kind of running out of things to do. There's the composite Superman again. It was a comic that wasn't easy to write for. So they did a lot of things that they did early on. They started doing the dollar size issues. They started having, doing a bunch of different backup series in there. I love these old dollar comics. Good God, I love them. Well, best thing Marvel had going for them in the 70s was they had the first one books, but also Marvel Tales, Marvel Greatest Comics, Marvel Triple Action, so you could, get look, and I bought those. They were doing it for those books for two reasons. They were printing those things because they were trying to kill the competition for rack space. Yeah, Jay, man, I tell you what, just for the covers alone. But it's funny. I like see these crazy covers you're seeing right here. I like those, but kind of I don't know what it is, but I kind of like the it's like the I like the Bronze Age covers a little bit better. It was like this. Oh yeah, here, oh yeah, this one here. Superman's look at oh god. Oh, this Jose Luis Garcia Lopez cover. Superman is taking over the world. Look at that sign he's making. Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I love me an omnibus, but yeah, I also love the smell of old comics. You know, you're not the first by any stretch of the imagination there, J man, to say that. A lot of my other buddies who are hardcore collectors, they love newsprint, man. And they hate all the slick paper stuff. Some of them hated it when they went to the Baxter paper and the prestige formats and all that stuff in the 80s. To me, I don't mind the slick formats and the back. I like, some of the Baxter comics, but yes, there's something about the old newsprint comics, man. On that cheap. In fact, what I really hated in the 80s was that flexi graphic crap. That flexi graphic paper, oh my god. But how do you not love these 100 pages though? The DC dollar comics, man. Hey kids, read this. Today's shout. Get ready for some. Yep, that's exactly right, Glenser. That's right, sir. I hear you, Sir Clobberin. You saw the 2021 Superman number 78, number 89 variant covers by Mike Menkos. I have not seen those. Are those are current ones or something? I don't keep Oliver. I don't keep up with the new stuff. Mark D with a C, brother. What's up, dude? You have the nerve to show yourself here after you've been showing us all that damn fine, roasted, barbecue pig you're making and torturing us with that, dude. Now you're going to show up in here. I see how you are. Did you bring us any? Good to see you, bud. Oh, thanks for the reminder, Phantom Outsider. Yep. Yes, World's Finest 142. Thank you, because let me find it. World's Finest for 142. 142. Yeah, I love it. I have this figure. I have the figure. They did a really good figure of the composite Superman. Love it. But Oliver, if you're referring to a current DC comic, no, I haven't seen it. I can't. I don't really even touch any modern stuff anymore. Just can't do it. Many of my wonderful friends do it, and that's cool. I haven't even bought a new comic, and well, let's see here. I did buy. I bought 1 and 2 of Justice League Infinity. That's a good point, Phantom Outsider. A villain that was himself a team up. That's a good point. I like that. Did I ever collect Will? Oh, did I ever? Oh, I love Will. I love Eisner. I'm a big. I got to meet Eisner once. I love Eisner. Cardinals. I love, and I've collected some of that. Not as much as some. I have some friends of mine that have a lot of his stuff. But I like the kitchen sink run, where they reprinted a lot of his prisoner. Strips. And I don't have any, but I really like those War Spirit magazines of the 70s from Warren magazines, from the Warren Spirit mags. But I love some Eisner Spirit. He was great. Oh, variant covers for Superman. Superman 78 and Batman 89. Okay. No, thank you, Khalil. No, I have not. I don't think I've seen those yet. I'll have to look for them because I do plan to get both of those comics. But I'm not sure. I don't think I've seen those two. Oliver, I'm going to go check those out. Right, let me go look for them right now. How about that? I mean, it's Superman and Batman, so it's still in accordance with the world's finest theme, right? Let's see. Superman 78, the variant cover. Okay, variant covers. Which one would there are a few? I'm guessing there are a few of them. Then is that one? Is it that one? Is it that one? Is it that one? Wow. To which one do you refer? Glenzer, I don't blame you at all. Hey, J-Man, thanks for hanging out, brother. Good to see you, buddy. And when we do Chapter 5, DC Comics Presents, I hope you can hang out with me, man. Oh, the second one? Okay, let's see. Go back to there. Would that be it? Or would it be that one? How many variants did they do on this thing? This one here? Okay. The one here with Luther and Lois and the Brainiac? Okay. I got you. That's not bad. Now, I got to go find let's see here. Tell you what, this one's pretty interesting. I didn't like the interior art. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying, Oliver. I'm sorry, I misunderstood you. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, Mike. Okay, I see it. I bet they want $10 for this one, right? Why am I thinking they probably want $10 for this one instead of like a normal cover price? Is that the one you got, Oliver? Huh. I like it. I bet I won't be able to get that one. Is this another variant? That's just a preview. Preview. You know what would have been great? You know what I wish they had done with this Superman 78? Because the art sucks. Oh, it's sold out, Oliver? Oh, I hear you. You know what I wish they had done with Superman 78 as far as the interior art's concerned? I wish they'd have got Gary Frank. Like I've talked about before. Everyone remembers Superman's Secret Origin? Okay, yeah, the Batman cover's pretty good too. Very nice. Could you imagine? It's been 78 had Frank, as in Gary Frank, doing the art. Could you imagine? Oh, well, Cardinal. Damn, that's a shame. It might have been good, but I'm not sure you'd want the Siffy channel getting their hands on anything you like, though. Cardinal, so that may be a blessing in disguise, buddy. This is the art that should have been on, and I'm not just talking covers. The interior of Superman 78 should have been this. Right here. Man, you imagine? And if you got, because they say this, I've heard the stories are, I haven't read it yet. Could you imagine that? I could. But what do I know? We're never going to do that. Never going to do that. How about a little world's old school, world's finest cover fun? I don't know who I would trust with anything I like anymore there, Cardinal. I don't know, man. I don't know who I would trust. There's nobody I would trust with anything I like anymore out there that I can go, yeah, I wish so and so would do this. You know, there was remember when it was kind of fun, kind of conversational geek fun to say, hey, I wish they would adapt fill in the blank. I wish they'd do a movie of, fill in the blank, whatever you're thinking. Those times is gone, partner. They're gone. So, Mark D, did you have a good day, bud? You tired, man? I bet you're tired, brother. Well, I hope you had fun. Little slideshow of some world's finest. World's finest. Oh, boy, these covers. I love that one. I should have done a Powerpuff Girls and Barney the Purple Dino crossover. I know what. Well, it could happen, dude. You never know. You just never know. It could be being in the works right now. Aren't they doing Powerpuff Girls? Oh yeah, they are. In the CW. Yeah, I got you, Markle D. Well, you probably had better food than the rest of us, at least. Oh, the Club of Heroes. Well, I will definitely check out the what if video when I get done, Cardinal. That's for sure. I didn't, let's see. I trust Jeff Johns only because the Stargirl season 1 was very good and season 2 is going good now. Johns does great JSA stuff. Yeah, he does. Look, Johns has done some good stuff before, and he's capable. He's done some crap, but he's done some stupid drivel, but he's capable. There's no question about it. I'm hearing you, man. Great Scott. It's Batwoman using her X-ray vision. Can you tell me why she has X-ray vision? Now, I don't know. Since I haven't seen your video yet, Cardinal. So far, I think the What If show is pretty terrible, for the most part. But I don't know if you're referring, if your video refers to the What If show or what. But yeah. And Captain Is Decker, the Replicants box says, what if was actually what ifs? What if indeed? It's not. It's just, it was basically, what if this show sucked? We'll show you. But we all knew it. It's not like, again, the one thing you shouldn't be is surprised by how much the show sucks. It's a shame it sucks, but who's surprised, really, right? I don't think anyone is. The boy from outer space. These covers, man. Oh my goodness. Neurot and Amanda Bear. I have not watched MODOK. Don't plan to. I've heard it was really terrible. And anything with I heard Neurot was really horrible. I heard MODOK was really horrible. Neurot. Anything with Patton Oswalt, you can pretty much guarantee I won't be watching it. But everybody I know who saw it said it was terrible. So I don't know. But starts out terrible. I got you. So, but you liked it better later? Super Batwoman. Yep. Yes, it is. It gets great in the middle. Yes, Cardinal. There's a TV show on Hulu with Patton Oswalt that's an animated comedy about MODOK. Cardinal, if you're referring to the TV show Legion, I've never watched it. I've heard people say the first season was good, then it got bad. Yes, exactly, Glenzer. I love Patton with George C. Scott. I would have stopped after the second episode if someone had. Oh, okay. Well, I like that you stick with things sometimes there in the rock because you guess you never know, huh? That's not a bad policy. Not a bad policy at all. Let's see here. World's finest covers. Bop, 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 bop. Oh yeah, I always love this one. Who will win this race? It looks like Superman's cheating by flying, isn't it? I can't believe my hero lost. Yay, my hero won. Hooray, I'm for the other team. Well, Cardinal, I'll tell you. First of all, I resent Marvel having anything to do with something called Legion because I love my DC Legion of superheroes, but I'm silly that way. But in all seriousness, I don't watch a lot of modern stuff. I can't get into. I hate the modern aesthetic for the most part. That's me being the old fogey that I am. I love Cobra Kai, and a couple other things that are new, but for the most part, I don't really start out with much. I know Legion's a few years old now, whatever, but I don't know. I'm not really. Again, I hear there are a lot of things that I start out and people say that is really good, that's modern, and I can see why they like them. But I kind of stick either with things that I love and know of already and watch again as comfort food, or sometimes there's a show that's a little bit older that I never gave a chance to, that I'm more likely to take a look at. And I heard that Legion got after the first season. I haven't seen it. That's just for people who have watched it. Does that make it true? No, I don't know. I mean, obviously, I wouldn't know. Superman and this was an era of World's Finest, where for a while they kind of stopped being Superman and Batman. It became like a alternate team up book again. Superman and Robin, Superman and Green Lantern with Dr. Fate in it. And there's Soups and Bats again. At each other's throat. There's Superman and Aquaman. Let's see. It was San. I think J-Man's already gone, but J-Man, it was way before DC Presents, where they let Superman with some other heroes. But there's Superman and the Batman fighting again. Superman and Aquaman. Superman and the Emma Peel Wonder Woman. I hear you, Cardinal. Cleanser. What happened more times? Superman racing Flash or Hulk fighting the Thing? Hulk fighting the Thing, and it's probably not even close. I think there have been tons of more Hulk Thing fights. There have been a few Superman Flash races, don't get me wrong, but I'm going to go with, again, I haven't researched it or vetted the numbers there, Glinzer, but I'm going to, not just because I'm biased towards loving the Thing and the Hulk. I am going to say probably Thing Hulk battles. But someone could crunch the numbers and prove me wrong, you know. A comedy with Patton Oswalt. Someone needs to define comedy in my world. Patton Oswalt is not funny. No, he isn't. Mark D, and he's an easy critic here. Mark D says, I do not like MODOK, not my style of humor. Animation was great, but I always try to give stuff such a Mark is a very fair individual. Yes, I think so there. Let's see. Captain is Decker the Replica. But in Legion, that was an epic from Epic Comics, not yeah. Well, Marvel, not Marvel. Yes, Epic Comics was the line that Marvel started. That was for creator-owned comics. Spock, Cockney. Yes. So in other words, they were to allow people to a little more creative freedom and to own their work. And Alien Legion was pretty good. I think they did Alien Legion. Did they do like Alien Legion? They did Alien Legion 2 or something like that. I'm trying to remember, but it can't remember how long it lasted. But it was creator owned, and it's been so long since it came out. It wasn't by any big names. I think it was some guy like Carl Potts, who did some art later or something, Alan, some kind of Salinas guy. I could be totally botching their names. But it was, when that came out, mid 80s or something like that. It was pretty popular, and again, it was something different. Well, who doesn't love Gru, a Phantom Outsider? You gotta love Sergio Aragonés. Yep, that's and then again, Superman with the Teen Titans. Let's see here. Superman and Batman, even weirder adventures on other worlds. It didn't take them. It really didn't long to go back to making it Superman and Batman. But then you end up back with Superman. I always love this cover by Adams. Steve Mitchum, this was dedicated to you, brother. The Superman pulling a planet. Phantom Outsider says, 3 Silver Age races, 2 in the modern age, and they did it. They also did it on the Superman animated series. The strangest vehicle for Superman in the 1984 DC Superpowers toys was the Justice Jogger, yet the Batcopter was the most sought after. Anyone know the name of the 80s series by DC, I think, where amateurs could submit their original heroes? Yes, that was called, wasn't it called New Talent Showcase? Cleanser, if I'm remembering right. I used to buy that sometimes. Good memory there, Oliver. Yeah. I could be misremembering, but I'm pretty sure. I think it's what it was. Superman and Hawkman. Where's Batman? Batman's been kicked out of his own team, but he popped up every now and then, and you got Superman dominating it. Superman and Green Arrow. And there were big double pages, 52 pages for only 25 cents, folks. Oh, Batman showed up again, and he's trying to fly. I always love this stupid cover. That 70s rock band, what's up, bro? Good to see you. And there's Batman's been kicked out again. The world's finest. With man, I love this era though. Good old John Jones. Now you got Superman and the Atom. I love how they're showing the Atom inside the phone cord there. With a great Nick Cardy cover. I love Nick Cardy. Fantastic. Oh, Captain is Deckard, a replicant's box says. Hey, Clobby, how about that Superman 500 special cover by your pal Howard Chaykin? I think that was Superman 400. I can pull it up if you want. Yeah. Yeah. But I remember it well. Chaykin is a jagoff. But yeah. I actually kind of like that cover, though, Deckard. It's weird. I've liked some of his art. A friend of mine, oddly enough, Deckard, a friend of mine, used to work for Chaykin. And Chaykin, a lot of people don't know this, in the 80s, Chaykin, kind of similar to the old Eisner Iger sweatshops of the 40s, Chaykin ran a sweatshop. And what I mean is he employed guys to do all of his background crap for him. He did light pencils. A buddy of mine used to, I'm not going to say his name here because I don't know. I don't know how I would like it. Used to do his backgrounds for him, whether it was on the Shadow series he did for DC, the Blackhawk series he did, and just about anything else. He would finish his backgrounds. He would do his coloring for him, and I think he colored that cover. But I do like that cover, Decker. As in Spock. I always forget what to call you, brother. Cockney. I had a friend who got his hero in an issue, but I couldn't remember the comic name. He got it in an issue of I used to jokingly call it No Talent Showcase. I'm just kidding. He got his hero in New Talent Showcase. Now, do you mean New Talent Showcase? But you said he got his hero in one. Does that mean now there was also before that Dial H for Hero was a comic that for a while there took fan submissions of superheroes. You could create your own for the Dial H hero. So you said he got his hero in one. Does that mean he created a hero and they put it in a comic? Because if that's the case, then you might see New Talent Case was when they would bring artists and writers to do different types of stories and stuff, like just like what it says, sort of an audition to work in comics. which was sometime throughout the early mid '80s, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly. But you said you had a friend who got his hero in an issue, but I couldn't remember the comic name. Well, you could be talking about Dial H for Hero, because of the in Adventure Comics in the late '70s and early '80s, for a while there, Dial H for Hero let fans create a character, and whoever won one, they would put them in that comic. Cockney it is, sir. Well, it could have been Dial H for Hero. So if he had a hero put in one, I'm going to say maybe that's what it was. He may have submitted it to Dial H for Hero. You know, Phantom, I like Dial H, the original Dial H for Hero, but man, some of those ones in Adventure Comics with some of that Carmen Infantino art, whew. That's probably what it was then. That's cool. He should probably track down that issue that he's in. See, what they would do is they would dial a character originally was Robbie Reed, but these kids, they found these magic Dial H thingies, and they would dial it, and they would turn them into a different superhero every time. And so to interact with with readers, they would let readers submit create their own character, design it and everything. And if they won the contest thing, they would have them put in the story. That's true. That's also true there, Phantom Outsider. Good point. Stuntman. Oh, you found it. Oh, cool. Well, hell, let me take a look at that. That'd be fun to look at. We're not leaving World's Finest. I mean, we're just going to do some cover stuff. Let's see. I want to see that. I stopped buying Dial H. I didn't like the art on the book at that point. That was in Adventure Comics. Dial H for Hero. Stuntmaster. Let's find Stuntmaster. Bop, 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 bop. See here. Well, there's some issues of it, but I don't know if this could have a picture of Stuntman. Maybe it will. Let's see. It was, they had one, by the way, look, this character was created by the Harlan Ellison, Silver Fog. Let's see here. Whoops. Yep, even Harlan Ellison created one for him. The boob grabber. Oh, thank you for the super chat there, Glenn. I appreciate it. The info. Hey, no charge on the info, buddy, but I thank you for that. Glad to help. I don't know if I can find a picture of Stuntmaster, but we can look at a couple of issues of that. Dial H. But look at that. Even I remember Harlan Ellison creating this. Now, I don't know about some of you old timers like me. I never really liked this Carmen Infantino's art at this stage. And it's funny, they always put the age of the person who created the character, and I guess they thought it would be funny. The Silver Fog was created by Harlan Ellison, age 46, Sherman Oaks, California. I always thought that was funny. Well, I don't see Stuntmaster, but that is just probably got a picture of him. But some of these covers, look, they would have. Look at that great George Perez cover. But the interior, holy shit. Oh, Adventure Comics 490. Okay. JD Lewis, hey there. Adventure 490. Light Master. A lot of Masters. Let's see. Adventure Comics 490. Find Stunt Master here. Oh, okay, I see the cover. Huh. There we go. Oh, we might be able to find a picture of old Stunt Master in here. They got his name in here, but they didn't put a picture. Well, you could find the issue pretty cheap. At least you could tell Martin that he could, if he doesn't have the comic book, he can find it probably very cheap. I'm going to speculate. I'm going to go out on a limb and speculate. And JD Lewis, I hear you. Yeah, but you never know. You might be able to find the issue. There's what the issue looks like at any rate. Something at least. Yeah, I was looking. I thought they would have a link to the character, but they didn't. But look, at least he got a. Your friend got a comic. I mean, got printed a character in a comic that has a George Perez cover. That's pretty good there. I would say that's pretty good, but then that's right. Phantom Outsider, and I bought it was 492 or 493 or something like that through 503, something like that of it when it went to the digest. I still have all of those digests of those adventure digests. Let's see here. Let's see if we can find them because they do have a mention of Stunt Master, but they don't have. I don't. Let's find them. See, they probably don't have a picture because there would have been a link to him. But if you have any contact with that friend of yours, to tell him to look up try to buy that comic. You could probably get it cheap. Wow, let's see if there's a picture. Nah. Oh, there you go. Look. We got a picture, dude. I think I found you a picture of Stunt Master. Let me find that for you. Yeah, JD Lewis, I like those adventures. I have a bunch of the digest. I love the digests. Well, what do you know, dude? We have the picture of Stunt Master. Just for you, Glenzer. There he is. That's the only picture I can find. Yes, it reprinted the original Legion stories chronologically. Well, there you go, Glens. There's your buddy's character, Stunt Master. How about that? That's pretty cool. How about that, huh? Well, if I were your friend, I'd be proud. I'd have that issue. Infantino notwithstanding. And here we are back again. Here's your world's finest in that era where Superman is not hanging out with Batman. There he is with the Golden Age vigilante. And there's the one I showed earlier, the Super Sons, by the great Bob Haney. You know, Bob Haney is a podcast unto himself, really. The best part in Batman Hush 612 was the splash page Jim Lee did when Batman armed with the kryptonite ring right cross punch Superman who was controlled by poison. Ah, okay. I never redid that. Oh, look, there's Mark D with some coming in there. Some more Stuntmaster here. What's that? WordPress? Oh. Cool. So we got a little bit more info on the Stuntmaster. Well, I don't know if you have any contact with that friend or not, Glenzer, but you ought to definitely tell them about that if you do. Your Muslim uncle says, I hope everyone knows how blessed they are to be able to just sit and enjoy and interact. Even little bits are a pleasure to me. Well, your Muslim uncle, I'm not doing much. Just kind of hanging out, geeking out with friends, just talking about silly nothingness like funny books. But I'll tell you what, I love doing it. And I hope you get a little bit of enjoyment out of it too, just hanging with us, because I'm really honored to have you here, man. I know you're going through some tough times. And I hope I know we're not doing much. I'm just sitting there running my stupid mouth, but having a little bit of fun. And if you like the kind of geek stuff we like to geek out about, I hope you're having some fun, man. Because, but you're right. We are blessed just to be able to sit around and kind of hang out with each other. Yeah. So you are making an excellent point. We should always be thankful for that. So, and the thing is on that comic, Glenzer, you can't. Well, I'll put it to you like this: you can't get it signed by the writer E. Nelson Bridwell because he's no longer with us. You can't get it signed by the penciler Carmen Infantino because he's no longer with us. But I think the inker Larry Mousestead is still with us. You could get him to sign it. But it'd be cool if I were your buddy. I would have me a copy of that one. He might have it. We don't know him, do we? So he may well have that copy. That's pretty cool. Now it's back to this is this again, Bob Haney. For those who don't know, does anyone out there know who Bob Haney is? And yet he's still better than these idiots we have today. Next week, because Bob Haney did write some World's Finest, and I didn't really get that far into it because his most insane stuff was on the Brave and the Bold. Next Monday night, I'm going to be talking about Brave and the Bold, not the cartoon, which I love, of course, but in this case, the old comic book from DC. So oh yeah, I still have all my digest. I have almost all of the digests. I'm missing very few of the DC digest. I love those. I love those. Just like I love my Treasury editions. But Bob Haney, look, he writes this stupid story about Batman and Superman having super sons. Now they do it. They're doing it with I know they do it with Damian and then Jonathan Kent, but this was insane stuff. But I remember buying this as a kid and just liking it because kids like silly shit like that. But Bob Haney wrote some really insane, nuts comics for Batman, for the Brave and the Bold comic. I got an insane one to tell you about. I'm going to save that as a special for next week since it's a Brave and Bold issue that I'm going to talk about a little bit because I was talking at the beginning of the show about these team-up comic books, how back then it didn't look how busy Batman and Superman were. Like I said, World's Finest went for 70 issues with Batman and Superman didn't even talk to it. They were only on the covers together. They weren't a team-up book at that point. Then issue 71 on up, it became between the two of them, and they were actually friends, and they were with each other. They were it was the book was about the interior. Actually, was about them hanging out, and there was a certain point where Superman and Batman both had like their two titles of their own, and they were in Justice League, and then they were in World's Finest. And then later, Batman gets those plus Brave and the Bold. And it was much later, of course, Superman got DC Comics Presents. But again, they were spread pretty thin there. You go, man, these guys had never tried to do any damn thing. Bob Haney, the co-creator of Metamorpho, whom I love, by the way, along with Ramona Fraden, who I love also. But yeah, I love Metamorpho. And I'm going to save it for the Brave and Bold show next week. Bob Haney, a lot of the things he wrote were insane. He did an issue of Batman with Sergeant Rock in it, which I just recently reread about a year ago. It's the most batshit crazy, no pun, insane ass story. You read it, and it will make your head blow up. You won't believe what you've read, and you read it and go, "Did I just?" It's so insane. But they had a. Put it to you like this: they had a name for Bob Haney. They called him Mr. Continuity because he wasn't. He would write the most. He didn't get crap. And somehow, see, I don't know. I guess E. Nelson Bridwell didn't work on those books because he was a stickler. He wouldn't let anyone stray from continuity or canon at all. He was Mr. Canon. And Bob Haney was the reverse. So much so that after Crisis on Infinite Earths came out in the mid-'80s, I forgot the name of this company. They weren't DC, but they released these Crisis on Infinite Earths index books, and I have them. And they did a couple different crossover. Like I forget the name of the company now. Little black and white, little comic book size mags, 8.5 by 11 mags that were out like little indexes about the Crisis. And they had one called the Crisis Crossover Index. Explaining the different Earths and all that kind of stuff. And they started all the different inconsistent Earths they had. Almost all of it was because of Bob Haney stories. So they just called it Earth B for Bob Haney. They were explaining Earth B, Earth 1, Earth 2, Earth A, all these different Earth X, Earth 3, all these different Earths. And they had Earth, after I remember reading that, every time we would even jokingly talk about something that's so ridiculously out of canon and silly and contradictory, my friends and I would just joke, that's Earth B for Bob Haney. Because the guy his stories are nuts. And the Batman in the Brave and Bold comic, just as I said at the beginning of this show, he's really not much to do with the Batman in the regular Batman comic. Just like, he's nothing like, I don't know. It was nothing like him, really, not in the regular books. I love it, by the way. I'm not trashing it. I just think it's funny. And so, I keep getting hailed. Oh, cool. Damn, dude. You are one sick puppy, Barkley, with a C. Whoa. Buddy of mine just sent me some pictures of some cool CDs he had. Wrath of Khan music and Batman TV series music. Anyway, we've gone our 2 hours tonight, and I don't think I got much done. But, it was kind of fun just kind of talking a little bit about, I started at the beginning of the show talking about, the origins of World's Finest and covered a few things about it. As I said, it's meant for just, I don't know, having a little fun talking about the world's greatest superheroes teaming up. Yeah, they were busy. So I'm going to finish up here and just say that, man, I cannot thank you all enough for hanging out with me tonight. I know I didn't do much. I know it was boring, but I'm sorry if it was boring for you, though, because it wasn't for me, because I loved hanging out with you and talking. I could do this all night, talking comics. I'll just say that I dropped a video I don't know if anyone's seen it yet. A little teaser telling what I'm going to be doing. So I'm going to be making these series of hopefully short videos that conceptualize what if we're going to go back a nice round number 50 years to 1971. What if there was a comic shop, Clobby's Comics Corner, and I'm going to show all the comics that came out that month. But we're going to do it in weekly increments. Oh, thank you, Spock. Thank you, Cockney. I appreciate you, sir. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show, and we're gonna, I'll show the comics that came out for that week. I'll show the ones that I'll be the customer, even though it's my shop. I know, because it'd be impossible to get it from everyone else. I'm gonna show all the choices, but I'm gonna show you the comics that I would have bought. They'll be predictable as hell, by the way, and just show you how many other ones are out there, just to give you an idea. And when you look at the staggering amount of comics that were available, and this was before there weren't many shops at that point. Thank you, Eric. I appreciate that, brother. There weren't many shops at that point. We didn't have them, but we're going to pretend like this is the spinning rack of time. I wish I could make a little spinning effect of a spinning rack going through the Doctor Who vortex, but I'm trying to learn how to make videos. I can't do that yet. I'm really crappy at making videos. If you watch that new video, you'll know it. You'll see that. Filmation really should have made a world's finest cartoon. Boy, should they ever. Show when they had the rights to the DC characters in the 60s. It was missing marketing. It was missed marketing when they had the chance. JD, I'm with you on fire right there, buddy. I'm absolutely with you. But thank you for the kind words. I appreciate that. And thanks for telling me about that Dial H for Hero. Cockney, really appreciate you, sir. And I promise I will be watching that movie soon. Thanks, Mark D with the C. Let's see who the great J-Man was here with us tonight. He had to run, but I appreciate that. The great Chris Persia was here. Of course, the great Man of Bronze, the great Eric K. Glenzer. Thank you so much. JD Lewis, thanks for coming in. I appreciate you. Thank you, Captain Is Decorative Replicas. I do appreciate you. Phantom Outsider, buddy. Thanks for hanging out with me. There's Eric with the $4.99 super chat. Thanks, buddy. Wait. Is this a cabal plan? Go back in time, take over the world? Chris Persia, I need some more stream. Hey, if you don't want to be in on the takeover, but I think you ought to come over to my side, Eric, and join us. Join me and the great D-Bud Martin. D-Bud, thanks for being here tonight. For our cabal, man. Hey, we're gonna have marshmallows. Your Muslim uncle. Thank you for being here, your Muslim uncle and buddy. Best wishes to your sweet mother. I hope she gets better. And I just always appreciate seeing you here, my friend. And I hope, things definitely start to look up for you, sir. I hope they look up for both of you. Oliver Belmonte, was a pleasure seeing you here. Appreciate you. That 70s rock fan popped in for a little while, brother. Good to see you. I'm backtracking, finding out who else came in. Nirat and Axamanda Bear was here earlier. Nirat, thank you for being here. Cardinalson was here, my buddy Cardinalson. Good to see you, bro. Appreciate you. My chat doesn't go back that far, so. And the great Steve Mitchell was here, of course. Hey, buddy. I forget, I have an old man's memory and everything. So, thank you all for hanging out with me tonight. And next week, well, let's see. Of course, I should do show notes, right? Wednesday night. Star Trek Day is September 8th, and we shall celebrate it as only we can. The wonderful Raquel Briggs and myself, my wonderful first officer, will count down our top 25 all-time favorite Star Trek The Original Series episodes. Kal-El, thank you for being here, buddy. I forget names if I don't see them for a while there, so I appreciate you. Thank you so much. You're too kind, man. Thank you for the nice words. So, yes, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. We're going to be Star Trekking on Star Trek Day, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it, and I hope to see you all here. And I guess Thursday there will be a Global Geek Gang, and of course, hey, Apollo Meets Minion, thank you. Oh, Janet from Another Planet was here earlier. Thank you, Janet. Wherever you are out there, we love you, appreciate you. Anyone else who popped in, if I forgot, just remember I'm senile. I forget things. So, everyone have a wonderful rest of the night. thank you again. I cannot thank you enough for being here. And I hope you will all join us for Wednesday night. So take care, everyone. Let me play my little outro. As always, a big shout out to the great Stone Loki for my amazing intro outro. Good night, everyone.